Boo! Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's the meteorologist Matt Wentz with you here on this Sunday evening. Hope you guys are doing A-OK after a weekend that, well, hasn't featured the best of weather. And I'll tell you, this week, if we can just hold tight this week, we are going to get to a weather pattern I think all of you are going to like. But man, the week is just going to be cooler. That's it. And we've got some rain chances. There's a little snow in the mix as well. We've got to throw that in there. So a lot coming at us this week, and then things change. The pattern looks to break as we get to next week. So we're going to talk a lot about that. First and foremost, let me get to our, I'm in the wrong corner. There we are. All right. Let's get to our early birds here this evening. DZ, the first one on board. I love it. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. I appreciate that. Derek says, oh, Derek, we're going to show this coming up in the forecast. Saw the climate prediction. Very nice. We'll talk about long-range models here that take us through the end of March and into the month of April. My goodness, it felt like it was just winter. Now it's like, whoa, we're in April already. And March is a long month, right? So we're getting through it. JK, hello to you. Mary's with us. Rhonda's with us tonight. Jeff, good evening to you. Hi, Deb. Hi, Deshaun. Thanks for joining us on our YouTube channel. I appreciate that. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, which I know that's so small in the world of social media, but we're very humble and very happy about that. So we appreciate that. Kelly's with us. Kelly, thank you for joining us. Debbie, hi, Jeff. Carol says, do we have to take cover in our basement this week? Carol, no. Thank goodness. Unbelievable. Deshaun says 3 tornadoes, city of Gary. One that was one of the 3 touchdowns was just blocks away from my house. Oh, Deshaun, I'm glad you're okay. Hopefully you caught our coverage. I had a good write-up on regionweather.com of the 4 tornadoes in northwest Indiana. But yes, lots of damage out of those Gary tornadoes, 3 of them. Just incredible. Just incredible what that was all from the same thunderstorm. Just incredible what these storms can do. I'm glad everyone's okay. Again, that is our goal. That's why we do the live coverage. That's why I personally do it, is to keep you guys safe and to keep everyone I love safe. And I'll tell you, those storms certainly produced some damage last week. All right, Honor Coleman's with us as well. What a dynamic storm system in the Midwest. Cold rain with hail. Yes, unbelievable. Yeah, they've had some pea-sized hail in portions of Illinois. 6 inches of snow in Wisconsin. Yeah, just unbelievable. You're going up skiing, Honor. That's awesome. Very good. All right, let me get through our sponsors real quick. Guys, these are all local companies to Northwest Indiana. I would put my name behind any of them. They're all wonderful. I work with each of them, whether it be the owner, co-owner, or the social media person with them, and they're all just awesome folks to work with. And they can help you out. FBIbuildings.com is the place to go if you have a new pole barn that needs constructed or commercial, residential, anything like that. They're doing a lot of cleanup in the Midwest from some of the destruction for some of the tornadoes. So they're working hard. FBIbuildings.com. Meals on Wheels of Northwest Indiana. Guys, they're looking for volunteers again. If you have any spare time, afternoons, evenings, mornings, whatever it happens to be, maybe you're retired and you're looking for something to do, this is a great way to serve the community. You get to deliver smiles and meals to people that are in need of it. So if you're interested, they can work around your schedule. I mean, seriously, it's what a great organization. Call this number for me, though, if you're interested in volunteering. Again, only if it's a couple hours a day. They'd love to hear from you. Melissa's looking for you to call at 219-756-3663. That's 219-756-3663. You can rewind this broadcast once it's posted on Facebook and YouTube as well and get that number. But I would really love to help them out and get them some volunteers to deliver those meals. That'd be great. PublicServiceAdjusting.com. If you have any storm damage whatsoever from the storms last week, don't go to your insurance company first and have them dilly-dally and come out and take some pictures and then not get back to you for a month. Go to PublicServiceAdjusting.com. What they will do, they will come on out. They'll take pictures. They're all local licensed assured adjusters. What an adjuster does, they take all the pictures and submit it to your insurance company, and then they'll deal with your insurance company. You can forget about it and get on with your week, and they'll get you top dollar back. They don't accept low offers from your insurance company, which is awesome. They're so stubborn. It is a 5-star review company across the board. PublicServiceAdjusting.com. TigerPlumbing.net for all your local plumbing needs. Minogue.life for any of your life insurance, Medicare, Medicaid questions. Michael Minogue has been studying that world for years. There's all sorts of changes that went in effect this year, and a lot of people sign up for their plans via phone. Those 2 things alone tell me that maybe a lot of you don't know what you have in your plan. Maybe there's benefits that you can get out of your plan that you're not getting, and maybe you're paying too much into a plan or for life insurance. Michael would love to sit down with you. No cost consultation. He'll sit down, he'll go over your plan. He'll say, well, what are you looking for? Okay, do you need this? Do you need this? Okay, they also offer this. And he'll help you out. That way you feel good going to the rest of the year that you have the best plan possible. Minogue.life is the website there. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. Guys, home mortgage season is here, and we've also got, obviously, housing seasons here. Have you seen Zillow recently? There are houses all over the place. Kate would love to get you ready to get you in either your first home or your dream home, and she knows exactly what it takes to get everything kind of set up, all your ducks in a line, so that when that home hits, you are first in there with your offer and you can get that house. She has so much experience in the market. Also, she's awesome. Kate Cusack, Home Loan Girl on Facebook, place to go. Finally, last but not least, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've got brand new Jeeps ready to go, including the new Wagoneer, ready for you to drive. Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram right there on US 30. All right, let's dive into the forecast, shall we? Overall, we are looking at a nice warm-up here over the course of the next 10 to 15 days. So how do we get there first? Well, let's start with the big picture pattern right now. We've got kind of a cool week. This is a week just to remind us that, yeah, it's still March. I think it'll go out like a lamb, all things considered. I mean, we talk about the lion and the lamb thing. I'm not really into it, but just for those of you that keep track, maybe you have a journal, lion and lamb journal in March. I don't know. There's all sorts of strokes for different folks. In terms of the forecast here, though, we've got cooler air, and you can see why. See how everything's coming at us from the west? See how it's coming down into the country? There's a big ridge out west. That's where the warmth is. And when things are coming down at us from the northwest in the western U.S., that tells us that we've got a trough out east. And that's exactly what we have. So we've got our system moving through now with some rain showers around. Overall, here, I want to show you radar first. Overall, we're dealing with just a second hit of rain. We had a little rain around early. And then we've got this secondary little line with the front that's moving in. So general rain moving through right now, but we've got a few little thunderstorms to watch. We've had some lightning with these, not a lot, but we've also had some hail with these as well. This line is getting ready to move through the region. So you'll notice that the skies get darker again, and we're going to have some quick hit downpours around here. Don't be surprised if within the next hour to 2 hours from west to east here in the region, if we have a little bit of small hail mixed in with these, all right? This is a frontal boundary. Behind that, the winds are really going to pick up, and that's the other thing I wanted to show you. This is a front that's going to knock our temperatures down tonight and tomorrow. On here, I don't know if you can see it. I don't know how big your mobile screen is or your desktop, whatever you're watching on. These are wind gusts. Hasn't been too gusty today. It's been a little breezy, but you look out towards the west. I'll just read them to you. Back in Iowa, we've had numerous wind gusts in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range, okay? So that wind is really going to pick up again tonight and during the daytime tomorrow, especially early tomorrow before it subsides. And that wind is blowing in cold air. What you're looking at, here's the satellite. You can see really good cloud development. That main flow of this front is now past us with that rain that's moving through. But you can see a couple of these towering cumulonimbus clouds. They don't go too high in the atmosphere, 25,000 feet or so, but still they've got some growth, a little organization to them. And that is the leading edge of that colder air. It's basically holding it back. The cold air is heavy and dense, so it sinks to the ground and it pushes out. That's what this frontal boundary is going to do. And as it's pushing out, it's creating a little line of lift. And that lift are these little downpours with some hail that we have moving in from the west. Okay, so that's in the near term. Once that moves through, the wind will pick up pretty substantially. So here are your wind gusts as we go throughout the night. There you go. I mean, over the next couple hours, we're getting into the 30, 40 mile per hour range in terms of gusts. Nothing compared to what we had, what was that, last week or the week before when we had the really strong 50 mile per hour winds, but not the case this one. But notice we stay breezy tomorrow. We'll have gusts 20 to 30 miles per hour throughout the day tomorrow and before it starts to subside right there tomorrow night as high pressure finally sinks in. Okay, what about rainfall? So here you go. There's that little line that moves through. Look at what's happening off towards the north. Oh boy, it's snowing, and it's snowing real good up in Wisconsin, northern Michigan. The good news for us, most of that snow misses us, but we get really cold wind out of the northwest. And cold wind this time of year, it's getting harder and harder to stay cold. It really is. The atmosphere the atmospheric flows typically, there's some kind of westerly or southwesterly component this time of year at times, so it's hard to stay cold. And then the other thing is our sun angle is it's super high. I mean, we're in spring now, so this is comparable to a September sunshine around here, and we're talking like mid-September, and that's a pretty strong sun. And so everything is going against us staying cold. The only thing that can kind of prevent that, prevent us from warming up, is a strong northwest wind, and that's what we have tomorrow. So the sun's going to try to warm us up, but that wind is going to continue to blow in colder air. So we will likely stay in the low 40s tomorrow. We may get into the mid and upper 40s down in our southwestern areas, but I'll show you here in a second. Just incredible how so much of the country is warming up except for us, at least with this system, and it's this system that's doing it. Snow stays north. I cannot rule out a few snow showers, especially out towards LaPorte County tomorrow, as there's a little disturbance that kind of rotates along this low, brings a few snow showers into southwest lower Michigan. Some lake effect will be going as well. So don't be scared if you see a few flakes flying around tomorrow. I am not anticipating accumulating snow. We may have some of that, though, out towards the north and the east into Michigan. And then this system comes in, a little sneaky system. This is on the heels of this trough, kind of on the base of the trough. This thing comes in, and you can see how we get a little bit of rain, maybe mixing with wet snow at times, Tuesday. So another chilly day on Tuesday. Once this goes by, it reinforces the chillier air for one more day, and then everything kind of relaxes with that northwest flow, and we're allowed to start warming up again. All right, so let's talk about that, because that is a good part of the forecast here. This is the upper level pattern where you see these reds meet the greens. See kind of this strip where it turns from yellow to red. That is essentially where the jet stream is, all right? And the jet stream is the divider of the cold air off towards the north and the warmer air down to the south, just in simplistic terms. And where that divider is, you tend to get real strong winds at the jet level, up where the jets fly, right? 20, 30,000 feet. And so that's kind of the line I want you to watch here on this map. You can see how there's a ridge out west. Underneath ridges, there's warmth. There's a trough or kind of a dip out east where we are. And, you know, up north of those, you tend to get some colder air. And that's what we have. Watch how this pattern changes, though. This low that goes by kind of establishes that trough in the eastern U.S. So this is Wednesday now. We're still on the cooler side of things. Meanwhile, a monster ridge is building out west. I mean, this is a decent ridge of warmth. And then, like down towards Phoenix, they're going to be approaching 100, which could rival the earliest 100 degrees that they've had. They typically start to get into the 100s in April and May and June. That's their hot season before monsoon season kicks in, and they start, I don't want to say cool off, but the real heat that Phoenix experiences is May and June. Okay, it's not abnormal to have 100-degree heat May and June. Late March, early April, it's harder to do out there, and that's what the kind of ridge we're dealing with. So as a meteorologist, when I know there's near record-setting warmth with this, then we would tend to bump our temperatures up based on what the models are saying once it finally gets here, as long as it holds. But watch what happens. Sometimes it just stays out west. Not the case here. There's a frontal boundary and a strong front that comes in the Pacific Northwest on Thursday, and that kicks the whole thing east. So looky here. Thursday, it starts. Friday into Saturday, we are now under a nice ridge in the eastern U.S., biggest one of the season so far. There'll be a system that spins up on the leading edge of that, or on the back edge of that, which I'll show you here in a second. But watch as we go through time. Here's the weekend. There's your system that goes through, and then the Euro says that another ridge continues to build in even stronger all of next week. All right, so this is how we kick off April, and this takes it all the way through April 7th. With nice warm air around here, like spring has sprung, right? And the cold air really gets shoved up into Canada at this point. So this would be a nice break from any little dips in the temperature as we go into the forecast. And the Climate Prediction Center agrees. This is the 8 to 14-day range. And again, a lot of people look at this and say, wow, it's going to be really hot in Texas and not so hot here. That's not the case. This is the chance. And again, I hate maps like this. I hate it. It's like the percentage chance that you're going to be above average. So it's like, I don't know. There's just other ways to do it. I don't like down here, if you look at the legend, that's just confusing to the average person. It just is. So when you look at this, basically anything in red, you have a pretty good chance, a likelihood of being above average. Basically, it's going to be warmer than average in the 8 to 14-day range. Here's where your cool air is, okay? Don't get lost in the semantics and the details of this, because again, these probability percent chance things, it's not user friendly, and it's ridiculous information, but it is going to be warmer. Okay. So we know that. So where does that put our temperatures? Look at this. Yeah. This week kind of stinks through Wednesday. We're in the 40s next couple days, right? Thursday's transition day. And then this weekend we're in the 70s. we finally get 70s on a weekend around here, which is going to be great. And then we get a little dip in temperatures. And then here's what the Euro says, has a nice warm up, right? With that other ridge, has 70s and 80s in the forecast. This is next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, into another weekend of 70s and 80s around here. And then even the cool down behind that doesn't look bad. All right, this is what you're going to see on social media. Big warm up coming our way. Spring is here, not going away. What am I here to do? I'm here to kind of level set everything. Not so fast, all right? Here's why. I'm so sold on this because I want it, all right? And a lot of meteorologists are going to be wish casting, and a lot of basement weather folks are going to be wish casting as well, trying to get clicks on that. Not so fast, and here's why. This is the GFS, all right? I don't lean GFS, and I'm not saying either one's right, but the GFS has a nice warm up this weekend, not quite as high in terms of temperatures, but look what it does next week. It has 40s and 50s in the forecast as we go into the next week. Not done yet. This is a Canadian model. All right. It has a nice warm up, and then it brings us down into the 40s and 30s next week. So we have a difference on the Canadian model of 36 degrees on April 2nd, okay, to the Euro, which has 75 degrees on April 2nd. That, my friends, is what we call not consensus. they don't agree. All right. So forecast confidence in this warm up later next week is very low. You're going to see a lot of it posted. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't mean it's right. All right. If anyone's posting it at this point, especially with that kind of disparity between the upper echelon of where we're going to go and the lower echelon, if they're posting it, it's irresponsible in my mind. It really is. I would love to tell you we're going to have summer-like warmth next week, but it's way too soon. If all the models agreed with it, then we could say, yeah, it's looking like a warm up, but there's way too much of a difference between high and low right now. I mean, that's 40, 50 degrees. So we'll see. I tend to lean Euro. I like the way it evolves that ridge this weekend. So I do agree with the 60s and 70s this weekend. I think it's going to be nice and warm out ahead of that system. But next week still is on hold. Okay. But it's great news. It's nice to see it showing up in the modeling. All right. Let's talk overall systems here. Remember, I mentioned we're at the base of the trough here over the next couple days. So this big low goes by, produces snow up in New England. We get this secondary little area of energy. You see, here's the jet stream, right where these two things meet. That's where everything flows like really fast. And so we have system after system just kind of lining up along this jet. Thankfully, the jet's going to move, so it's not, situated right over us. But you can see that cold air kind of pushing out. In terms of systems this week, again, little rain and snow possible Tuesday. It's not a slam dunk. Wednesday looks dry and chilly. We may pop a shower or even a rumble of thunder sometime Thursday as the warm front's trying to get in here. Not a guarantee on that either. But then you can see next week, this is the system as we go into the weekend and next week that brings that warmth out ahead of it. Now, in terms of severe weather threat, I do want to cover that because this is really the next system that we're watching for any thunderstorm chance. And as of right now, the Euro, why don't I get a little bit closer? Let's go a little closer to home on here, okay? I'm going to fast forward to that system. So pretty quiet week outside of these little rain hits and maybe a little snow. Again, nothing substantial out of anything this week. And then the next substantial system comes in late Saturday with some rain chances. Here's Sunday for you. Low pressure gets going back towards Missouri. Boy, are we familiar with that. There'll be a snow and an ice storm in the northern end of all this. And for us, again, there's a chance of thunderstorms with this. I'm not 100% sold on a severe chance with this yet. I wasn't on that last one either on Sunday. I needed a couple more days of model to get on board with that. But in terms of this low, the thing that's different about at least the way it looks right now, and again, this is next weekend, all right? That's really the next chance that we have to watch, or next time that we have to watch for something in terms of the storm, all right? But when I look at this, a couple of things that I'm missing out of it. The low pressure is developing as it moves in. The last two lows that we've had that have produced severe weather have had a strong low already, where that low is really cranking out towards Kansas. And then remember, it went into Illinois and Iowa, and we had the real strong wind flow out ahead of it. This one's not going to have a ton of wind, at least initially. I mean, I look here, there's a breezy southwest wind. The low's kind of disorganized back towards the west. This is Saturday night. So we would have just some showers developing on the leading edge, and then the bulk of the moisture is on the north side where it's cold, all right? And then it gets going here, all right? If this low can get going a little bit quicker and maybe a little stronger, then I could see a severe risk in here on Sunday, next weekend, all right? Right now, I'm not overly impressed, though, especially if we get this leading area of rain and shower activity where there's not a lot of forcing, there's not a lot of lift. Temperatures will be there. Dew points should be close to where they need to be as well. So we would have a couple factors working for severe weather. Shear would be pretty high as well because there'd be a turning wind with height. But overall, I'm not quite sold on it yet. And it looks kind of full of moisture too, which may kind of cloud any thunderstorm development or severe storms. So something we need to watch. Again, I'm not sold on it next weekend, but we'll keep an eye on it. And then look on the back side of it. Briefly colder Sunday night, Monday. Hopefully we don't get that snow out of it. And then the Euro, remember, warms us up very quickly out ahead of the next system with various rain and storm chances. This is almost the ring of fire pattern on here. If you guys are familiar with that, I mean, it resembles it. It's not quite yet, but as we go into the following week, and I want to show you temperatures real quick because here are your temps. Look at the warmth that we're going to be dealing with. Let me go back to 12Z real quick. Look at the warmth that we're dealing with. I mean, if you're spring breaking this week, I know we've got some spring breakers. I mean, the Deep South, pretty much anywhere else in the country, but the Northeast and the Great Lakes is the place to go. It's just warm everywhere else. It really is. And that warmth will eventually get in here. Here's where it starts. Here's Thursday. Here's Friday. I mean, looking good, right? And the reason why the GFS isn't quite as warm is because it has this front. Look at this sharp front just off towards the north, where we go from 70 to 39 in a matter of like 50 miles in Wisconsin. The GFS has that front further south, okay? So that's, we'll see what the placement is, but I have a good hunch it's going to be north of us and that we will warm up this weekend. But then that warmth goes through. Look at these dividing lines. I mean, look at this. Chicago, we've got Gary at 66. Meanwhile, up in Racine, it's 39 Sunday night. I mean, just incredible cold. And they'll have snowpack up here in Wisconsin. Incredible. And so then next week, you can see this warm up that we have. This is what the Euro is saying. And again, we'll probably have thunderstorms roaming the northern periphery of this. But here's the 80s and 90s that we get into. 80s in Illinois and Iowa, the 90s down in Kansas. Just incredible. Again, on the Euro, that's the kind of warmth we're going to be dealing with after that. Okay, so I just wanted to show you kind of what we're dealing with the real fine line between real cold air and warm air. Very typical of spring around here, especially April. We tend to see really tight gradients like that in terms of the weather forecast. Last thing I want to show you here is congratulations, Lake, Porter, and LaPorte counties. You've officially made it out of drought in the last week. We had abnormally dry D0 drought for you. We've made it out. We still do have, at least technically, a moderate drought in areas of Newton, Jasper counties, especially the further south you get. Stark County, you're abnormally dry with a drought just down to your south in Pulaski County. Overall, though, we have improved things, and this does not take into account the rain and storms that we just got in this last round, all right? The cutoff for this when they report is on a Tuesday, and then they report it on Thursdays. And so the good news is we're officially out of a drought. I've been mentioning over the last couple of weeks that we could use the rainwater. Rain is not a bad thing this time of year, especially going into planting season. A lot of our farmers want to make sure that they have enough moisture to deal with and all that good stuff. So last thing we want is a drought, and we have kind of fixed that across a good portion of the region. Now, in terms of rainfall totals the next week or so, let's get to the 12Z real quick. I just want to show you some of these numbers. Not a ton coming our way. This is next weekend. This is through the week, how much rain we get. Not much, maybe up to a quarter of an inch at best. That's the whole week. And then, again, things differ depending on where those storm systems go. But overall, it's not looking too bad here over the next 2 weeks with those storm systems coming our way with perhaps that warmth next week, okay? So that's kind of what we're looking at. All right, let's go ahead and answer your questions for you. As always, at the end of our broadcast, you guys can throw questions in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. It could be whatever you want to talk about. It really can. Let's kick it off with Jeff. Jeff says, Jeff, I just saw your comment and then it went away. Hold on. There you are, Jeff. Okay, Jeff says, are you thinking it's going to be a hot summer? Great question, Jeff. So as of right now, I mentioned last week we're getting rid of La Nina. Okay, we're going to go La Nada, which is basically we're not going to have anything this year in terms of one or the other. And overall, what that means is not a whole lot for our forecast. It means things should be close to where they are normally. The problem is the drought. And again, let me go to, Let's go to national. So here's your drought across the country right now. Okay, anything in red is like a drought that's sticking around for a while. The oranges are they can be corrected with a couple big storm systems that bring a lot of rain, but it's really tough to do in a lot of these parts of the country that are dry. But what you notice is there's a lot of drought in the desert Southwest. They're very dry in the northern plains and the upper Midwest, and then down the southern plains, especially Texas, very dry. Although they're getting much needed rain right now. So, Jeff, to answer your question, one of the problems is when we have droughts across the nation's midsection, you tend to get more heat. All right. And if we get more heat emanating from the desert Southwest, that would easily slide into the Midwest and that would easily slide in here. So, all indication in my mind, if everything's normal in terms of ocean patterns and all of that, all indication is that we are going to have a warmer than average summer, which does mean hot days. Doesn't mean we can't get cool spells. But I'm foreseeing pretty hot summer around here, just based on the drought alone. If I'm leaning towards that and what drought has done in the past. So again, the heat always starts over the desert Southwest, and then if that's getting to higher levels because they've got bad drought out there, that would get into the southern plains. If there's drought there, that would help feed the heat in most situations. And then again, we would have that risk here. So great question in terms of that. Derek's ready to turn the AC on. Yes, guys, make sure you get your ACs tuned up. All right, it's going to be here before we know it. I'm telling you. Let's see. Tom says, "How does Florida look this week for spring breakers?" Yeah, let's take a look at Florida. My kiddos are on spring break here this week. We are not going anywhere because I burned all my PTO time when I had pneumonia and the flu. So I just ruined everything. So I took those days off when it was cold outside and I was hacking up a lung. So we can't go anywhere this year. How sad of a story is that? The kids don't even know. They don't care about trips or anything like that, at least in terms of planning. But anyway, yeah, we're kind of bummed in our family about that. All right, let's get down to Florida. We're going to go southeastern United States. Let's look at Florida's weather pattern because I haven't looked. And I always like when they're on spring break and we don't go, and then it's like really rainy in Florida and it's real nice here. I don't know, Tom, I don't know if you're hoping for that, but that's kind of what we're looking at. So they have severe weather this evening in areas of the Tennessee Valley and Mississippi Valley. That front pushes down into Florida tonight and tomorrow. And notice tomorrow it's rainy up towards the Panhandle. Down from Orlando south, it's fine. And then tomorrow night into Tuesday, the front kind of washes out. So not a big deal, just a couple isolated thunder showers down the southern half of the state. All right. That will cool down the state, though, all right, a little bit. And then notice they're fine on Wednesday. Another little disturbance slides through Thursday, not a big deal. Again, can't rule out an isolated storm in there. And then through the weekend, they're fine. So they actually have a pretty nice week. Let's look at temperatures because they're going to get a nice cool down with this front. That's the min. Hold on. Let me go max. 24-hour max. What am I doing? Am I in the wrong model? No, we're good. Okay, there we go. All right, so here are your max temps. So see, this is Monday. Notice it's cooler with the rain in the Panhandle, 70s, 80s downstate. And then this should cool them off. Yeah, 70s to near 80 on Tuesday behind the front. And then they start to warm up again, mid 80s. Depends on where you are. Cooler again on Thursday with another front. I mean, that's a really nice spring break, mid 70s in Florida with 80s down towards the south. And then let's just see how hot the southeast gets next week. I haven't looked at this yet with this warmth. Yeah, a lot of 80s. Look at this, maybe 90s in the Carolinas. This is next Friday or 2 Fridays from now. Yeah, maybe some 90s. Yeah, quite a warm up. That's that big ridge. Look at that, maybe 90s getting up into DC. Wow, that would be April 6th and 7th. So we'll see. But that's that ridge that comes over if that holds true. So we'll see. Great question, though, Tom. All right. Yeah, Ethan says, I mentioned that the pattern looked like the Duratio patterns. Yeah, the Ring of Fire patterns that we get into. It could, Ethan. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen it set up in April before. But yeah, this ridge of warmth certainly kind of looks like that, doesn't it? Yeah, that's it. That's it, Ethan. Yep. Oh, Jan says the Chesterton Marching Band's at Disney on Tuesday. Oh, that's awesome, Jan. Yeah, they'll have a front going through, so that's interesting. They may have a thunderstorm in there. But overall, they're going to be dealing with lower humidity if they're staying on Wednesday, which I would assume they are. Mark, yeah, I would go ahead and I mentioned this last week, I think to you or someone else about putting the plow equipment away. I really think we're good. I really do. We can't rule out. I mean, we've had snow again on Easter before. Easter's late this year. So I don't see any big snow systems coming in or anything like that. I would take our chances on it for sure. I will not be the one helping you put the plow equipment back on, though. If we do have a freak snowstorm late April, okay, we still could get snow this time of year, but it's really hard to do. We have to have a big low, and we have to have some cold air already in place. And looking at the next 10 to 15 days, I don't see that. Jeanette, great question. Thanks for asking that. Are we done with the dirty rain? We are for now, Jeanette. Yeah, that was crazy. Two systems in a row where the dust kicked up out of areas in New Mexico and Texas. The wind, the 50-mile-per-hour winds that they had kicked up all this dust. Dust went into the clouds. Low pressure pulled it north. And so what we had were clouds essentially that had dust in it from down in the southwest and the southern plains. And it rained, obviously. And so those raindrops collect the dust in the droplet. They bring it down, hits your car. The raindrop disappears, obviously, but the dust remains, especially once it dries. So, yeah, we're done with the dusty weather for now. There's not really much of a flow to bring that in. We'll have to keep an eye on that weekend storm system. I don't see quite the wind gusts down in New Mexico and Texas with that one, so we should be okay with that. But, yeah, just incredible. Wasn't it? It's just incredible that we got two systems in a row from that, and that both were very similar, and they both kicked up all that dust on the desert Southwest. That is another thing to watch with that drought in the plains, all right? That's going to keep happening unless they get some rain. And the good news is there is some rain right now down in areas of Texas. Let me show you that real quick just because I'm interested in seeing it as well. Let's see. Let's go here. And we're going to go down here. And look at this much-needed rain that they're getting right there. It's not as much as I thought. I thought they were getting more than that. But you can see they've got rain. Some rain. Gosh, it's not as much as I thought. Maybe they got it yesterday. I knew they were going to get some back towards San Antonio. And then I thought Western Texas was going to get some. But, yeah, so maybe not as much rain as I was thinking down there. But any rain in Texas is always a good thing. It is. Pearl says day trips will help. Yes, they will, for sure, Pearl. I know. And we've got a couple little things up our sleeves for the kids coming up this week. But just, when mom and dad have to work all week, it's kind of it's tougher on us because we're trying to manage the jobs, and then it's like, planning trips and stuff in between work hours and stuff like that. But yeah, we've got some things planned for them, and our kids are as happy as could be. I mean, they're fine. Tonight they were playing some kind of dragon, like all four of them. It was so cute. Their age range is 9 to 1, but they were playing some dragon game, and they all were like sorting each other gently. I was making sure of that. But yeah, it's just they play so well, and they all play together. That was one of the reasons why my wife and I wanted to have our kids close together so that they can all play, which is super sweet. So there's that. Vicky says we're going to see the sun anytime soon with all the rain forecasts. Yeah, Vicky, we're going to squeak in some sun. So it's easier to get sunshine this time of year than obviously the middle of winter. Let's go back and look at the sun forecast real quick. We're going to look at the clouds to be able to tell you when it's going to kind of clear out and when we're not going to have clear skies. So cloudy now. Here's tomorrow. We get some good sun tomorrow. There'll be a layer of clouds hanging out over the lake. We should squeak into the sun for much of the day tomorrow. And then more clouds come back in on Tuesday. There's Tuesday. There's Wednesday. By the way, the blue is clear skies, FYI. Here's Tuesday night and a Wednesday. Wednesday looks great. All right. A few clouds around, sunshine otherwise. These are high clouds coming in on Thursday, so we may have a little veiled sunshine in there. And then there's Friday into Saturday. It's clouding up. Here's that system on Sunday, and then more, well, kind of cloudy next week with the warmth. But overall, not too bad, right? Let's see. Maxwell, there is some shear. I'll keep my eye on it once we get off here. But yeah, there is some shear. Maxwell says a little weak rotation on the showers near Newton County. Yeah, we'll keep our eye on that for sure. Let me pull up a couple things real quick. Boy, wouldn't that be something if we went tornado warning on a broadcast here, but atmosphere's not quite where it needs to be in terms of that. Yeah, that is an interesting storm down there for sure, Maxwell. Definitely has some hail with it. Yeah, the one coming out of the Bourbonnais, Kankakee area. So just a heads up, Lake Village and Snyder, once again, in Roselawn. We've got a decent little cell coming your way. Again, there's not lightning with it, so we can't quite call it a thunderstorm, but it's a decent downpour. There's a little rotation. Yeah, they had some rotation out towards the west. It's gone away there, Maxwell. I don't see any now. Again, nothing that would be warned or anything like that, but something to watch. But there is some hail. So Schneider and Lake Village, it heads up to you. We've got that little cell moving in that's got a little bit of hail with it as well. So just something to keep an eye on, okay? Again, we could get a little bit of hail out of these things over the next hour as they move from west to east. Let me go a little bit more local here. There you go. It's this little one right here. See that little thing? So we had a little rotation right there with it. And again, atmosphere, we've got some shear in the atmosphere, but I mean, temperatures in the 40s, all right? We're not going to get a tornado with temps in the 40s, but we're going to get a little hail out of that. So again, this is heading into Lake Village. Rest of us, I don't see too much right now. We'll keep our eye on these downpours. Might have some hail heading into Lake County, like Maryville, Crown Point, Hammond, you might get a little bit as well, okay? So heads up for you. Again, this is the front, so the winds turn gusty behind us, and that temperature drops. It's going to be on the chilly side tomorrow, okay? Rich, you're awesome. Thank you. You're absolutely welcome. Thanks for the kind words. I do appreciate that. All right, guys, we'll let you go here on this Sunday evening. Again, thanks for joining us all week long. You can catch our region weather forecast in your office on the radio. I know they're still playing radio in offices, which is awesome. X-Rock 103.9, Indiana 105.5, and Z107.1. Region weather forecast all day, and we have live discussions on there too. So some fun stuff there. And then regionweather.com, always there for you. We'll have updates as we go throughout the week in your inbox. All right. So thank you for joining me, guys. Guys, have a wonderful week. Again, hang tight with the cooler temperatures. Hopefully, and I'll keep my eyes on it. Hopefully that Euro is correct as we go into the next week. We could use some 70s and 80s around here. I think it'd be pretty nice. Get the leaves going, get the pollen season going again. All right. Have a great night. Have a great week, everybody. We'll be in touch.